Welcome to the Prosperity Playground, the podcast where business meets energetics, strategy meets soul, and prosperity becomes inevitable. I'm your host, Anna Lozano, mom, founder, investor, mentor, and energetics in business expert. This is your weekly activation to rewire how you think and feel about wealth, success, and personal power, because it's not about working harder, it's about regulating deeper, aligning stronger, and receiving wider. You don't hustle for your future, you calibrate to your higher self. Join me weekly for high-level conversations with the world's most inspiring entrepreneurs, creators, and thought leaders. True prosperity isn't just about money. It's about alignment, freedom, expansion, and embodying your worth. Welcome to the playground. Let's build your most prosperous life. Welcome back to the Prosperity Playground podcast. Today's conversation is going to land deep in your hearts. I'm joined by my dear friend, Micheal Edwards, who is a public speaker, frequency mentor, and energy healer who works with high-performing leaders to transcend limitations and create extraordinary impact. He built his business on uncompromising alignment with his core values, leading him to work with public figures, professional athletes, and trailblazing leaders. Micheal's journey took him from understanding human behavior through studying hypnosis and the mind to mastering the deeper layers of consciousness and energy. Now, his spiritual gifts and insights have become what his clients seek most. He frequently shares his insights through podcasts, online events, and intimate in-person experiences, guiding high-impact individuals to live and lead from a place of alignment and authenticity. Here are 3 reasons you'll want to stay with us until the end. 1 is we unpack the difference between force and power on the vibrational scale and how to move into true energetic alignment. Next, we explore how to track your set point frequency and why your subconscious programming might be blocking prosperity in ways you don't even see right now. And finally, we dive into universal laws, neutrality, and willingness, and how these states open the doors to true synchronicity, purpose, and overflow in every area of your life. This episode is an activation, so grab your journal, open your heart, and let's step into higher frequency together. And of course, if this conversation resonates, I would love for you to share it on Instagram, tag me and Micheal, and let us know your biggest takeaway. Your shares are what allow this podcast to ripple out to more entrepreneurs around the world. Enjoy the show. Micheal Edwards, welcome to the Prosperity Playground podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
Hello. Thank you, Anna. I'm so thrilled to be here with you today.
Oh my gosh. You know it. We're going to dive right in because that's just what we do, right?
Yes.
So this summer, I got to spend time with you in Kelowna. We got to officially meet. I feel like we've been in each other's worlds for some time online, but this summer was just so powerful coming together. I enjoyed your ceremonies for the full moons and new moons, and we also had such a powerful hypnotherapy and energy session. And in this session, first we started off with the hypnotherapy. A lot came up for me around proving. And the thing with this realization and this awareness was that it was completely subconscious. And so I'd love to start this conversation about subconscious programming that we may not be aware of. And we have big dreams, we have big goals, but we have this programming running behind the scenes that's literally blocking us and it's standing in the way. And so let's dive into subconscious programming.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to actually just start by saying that, the number one thing that I look at when I work with anything is levels of vibration, which I know you know, and I'm sure we're going to talk about. And one of the biggest things that this affects in our life, from being in a low vibrational place to a high vibrational place, is this spectrum called force versus power. And when we're in a lower vibration, it requires force. It's literally like reality is pushing back against us. And the only way that we can create something is by moving the blocks around, literally pushing the blocks around in the 3D. Whereas when we're in a higher vibration, we're in power, we get to have this experience of life where life is cooperating with us. And this is where we see synchronicities and, things kind of just happening and organizing. It's what a lot of spiritual teachings would call the cooperative components, right? And so a big part of my work overall is to help people raise their vibration. But for real, because that's, I feel like it's trendy and we just say that sometimes, but really understanding what that is. And so at each level of vibration, there are beliefs, thoughts, feelings, and perspectives, kind of a relationship that you have with reality. And so one of the most predominant vibrations and subsets of beliefs that we get into once we're through the like trauma healing, because that's something that keeps us lower. But so we get to this place where I'm free of the trauma, I'm no longer in like pain. Well, the next place that a lot of us go, which is a higher vibration than being in pain, is pride. And the difference between pride and power is that in pride, we feel like we have to prove. And so it feels, because vibrationally it's higher than being in shame or grief or guilt or sadness, but vibration, so it's a higher vibration, so it feels better. We're like, I'm growing, like I feel way better than I used to feel, my life is better. But on that vibrational spectrum, we've actually still not quite crossed this threshold into power. And the root of that proving is not enoughness. And it's so sneaky. It's so like, it's like these little gremlins that just hide in the subconscious, and we're really, the mind's really good at justifying. So we tell stories to interpret the way that we are. And so we often justify these things. But when people are brave enough to look at it, as you were, you kind of go in and you're like, oh my God, there is still, even though I've healed, there are still these remnants of not enoughness in my psyche, and I'm pushing against them with this proving energy because I'm trying to prove that I'm enough. And that keeps us locked into a vibrational plane that's going to be way better than being in pain, but it's not going to be as beautiful and easeful and cooperative as being in something like joy or love.
Right. So is everyone operating, if we look at this scale specifically, at a conscious or unconscious baseline frequency? Like, is everyone, or do we move in and out of these frequencies? Or is there like an underlying baseline that's kind of locked in, that we're locked into?
Yeah. So if we were to look at it from the perspective of in each moment, we definitely kind of ride this roller coaster through the spectrum. But what we're really interested in is, what is the set point? And so you could look at, like, over the course of a week or a month or even a year, what is the average vibration that you're in? And people get mad at me sometimes when I say this, but for a lot of people, it's not the vibration that they think that they're in, myself included. And so that's one of the reasons having a conscious understanding of this really helps, because you can feel like, no, I feel good, I feel fine. But then if you look at it with discernment, you're like, oh, but I have this worldview and I had that thought, and those thoughts and that worldview actually belong to this vibrational scale. So, and part of me is actually living there.
So let's talk about the practical then. If we were to track, say that for the listeners tuning in to this episode right now, the goal is over the next month to track your set point frequency. How do we do this?
So some of the most powerful things that you can look at is, what is your relationship with life and possibility, and what is your relationship with God? And when I say God, I use that as a broad term. You can say the universe, source, mother nature, if you just believe in like this physics, field of consciousness, whatever that is for you. What is your relationship with that. Do you believe that life is cooperating with you, that it's happening for you, or do you believe that it's hard? Do you believe that you live in a universe with a loving God that is, supporting you at every turn, even when you might have a difficult lesson? Or do you believe, an a God or a God that's kind of doling out justice? And that's kind of this macro, and we're going to experience micro versions of that, right? So, what we might experience in the practical is, getting drawn into conversations about a certain time period, whether it's like political or economic, and this is a bad time for
Right.
business or to be, a certain kind of person or whatever. That would be a more specific representation of one of those kind of more macro perspectives. And if we look at that, it really gives us a lens into what vibration that we're really living in.
So, if we're looking at beliefs first, what would you say then if I were to say, okay, but then there's evidence? So, maybe right now in this stage of life, things are not flowing. It feels more like it's forcing versus being in power. So, how does that shift and sway our beliefs? Because this is a belief. So let's say we have an empowering belief system, but right now the evidence is showing otherwise. So there's a disconnect, there's incongruency. So how do we begin to deal with that?
Well, I mean, I would look at vibration first. I always look at vibration first, and then I nitpick in beliefs
Yeah.
because that's the main thing. And that's, I mean, it's how I came to do what I do now is I learned hypnotherapy first, and then I learned about the energy stuff because I was like, why does this not always work the way that I want? And
Right.
now
That's
I
interesting.
think like energy first and then nitpick the belief, because certain thoughts are going to feel easier to think when you feel a certain way. You can just
Yes.
simply see this in, when you wake up feeling great. Like there's those days you wake up, you're like, I don't even need coffee. I'm ready to go. I'm going to work out at sunrise. Let's go. Let's go. It's like the positive thoughts are just flowing. And then there's other days that maybe you're like fighting a cold, or it's the middle of winter and it's a rainy day and you're like, oh, there's sandbags on my chest. And,
Yes.
maybe your self-talk is like, why? Like, why is this such a heavy day or whatever? Those are thoughts, those are beliefs, and those are just coming easily on a vibration. So I like to look at vibration first and
Yeah.
then belief second, because beliefs will stop us from creating something. And this is where I think a lot of spiritual people get hung up, because maybe they are living in a higher vibration, but they have these really strong beliefs that like money is bad or success is hard or it's not available to them. And so while they might experience, you know, a lot of great things in one area of life, they won't be having those things physically manifest in another area of life. A really common thing people say that I would say are living at quite a high vibration is, I can manifest anything except money. And all I hear when I hear that is, oh, you just have really limiting money programs, right?
Mhm.
So
So you think in that scenario specifically, it would be the programming around money that would need to be worked on because the frequency seems to be at a more elevated set point.
yeah, so like people will often say things like, I can manifest all these things for free. Like people,
Yes.
and you'll feel like, I'll feel
Yeah.
someone that's like, I've got this energy, I'm living in this space, I'm living in this aura. And like, I can ask for something and it comes, whether it's a connection or a relationship or an opportunity, or even, and I experience this too, people would give me free things. Like I had a year when I was really lit up and living in a high vibration, and I still had really limiting money paradigm, and I was given like $100,000 of stuff, which is crazy. You know what I mean?
It's
But
amazing.
not the money.
Yeah.
And that tells us, okay, there's specifically a resistance to money, and there's an
Mhm.
energetic component to that, but it tends to be more belief related. Like
Okay.
that's when I would pick into the beliefs.
Right.
And to answer your question about teasing out the beliefs, I would actually reverse engineer it, because beliefs are actually quite fickle, and kind of difficult to pinpoint. Because what you're kind of saying is like, I have these beliefs and I look at things this way, but what you're really saying is, what I consciously choose to believe is this, but there's
Mm.
something else going on deeper down.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to see that is just to look at your manifested reality. And so I look at it like this. It's like the energy is like a projector, right? Like an old school film strip projector, and the beliefs are like the film strip going past. And
Mm.
so the projector is there, it's sending the light, that's the energy. The film strip are the beliefs, and then whatever they make together and cast on the wall, that's your reality. So if you want to figure out what's on that film strip, it's easier to just look at your manifested reality and go, okay, well, what does this tell me about me?
Yes. Oh my gosh, so good. Okay, so now we have the evidence, the manifested reality.
Yeah.
How do we start to shift if it's not the
Yeah.
reality that we desire in all areas? Like I love to look at all areas. You know, when we think of prosperity, for me, it's health, vitality, it's money, it's impact, it's moving towards our purpose and expansion, it's community, it's friendship, it's all of it. So let's say certain things are flowing and others are not. We now have this awareness. What do we do next?
Yeah. So this is the biggest trap that we tend to fall into.
I know.
Because a lot of the times when we are doing this work, we start to get over that threshold, right?
Yeah.
And we start to be in neutrality, willingness, hopefulness. Those are some cooperative, positive energy vibrations and states that we can be in. But the second we look at something from a place of absence, and this is, we really get triggered into this, and there's any amount of comparison, or there's any amount of, why don't I have that yet? Or how do I get there from here? Because that's a force energy thought, not a power energy thought. It brings us back down to the vibration of desire, which incidentally is low. I think it's below pride, but pride and desire are very close.
They're
And so what a
under
lot
the
of people,
line.
they're
Yeah.
under the line. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so what a lot of people do is they kind of will have this spiritual reprieve and kind of retreat and go, do all this work and the self-love and, forget about the 3D and materialism and everything. And they get to this place where they're glowing and it's magic and they feel lit up, and, their partners and their friends are saying like, I can feel this light from you. You feel different. And then we go, okay, now how do I like come into the real world? How do I manifest more of a result? How do I actually create more success, more whatever? And then we kind of reach for the old toolkit, and that takes us back to pride and desire.
Oh, so
And so
it just shifts us out. Just that
it's
one
it's
even
just
thought. It's so tiny.
it's it's so tiny. It's so annoying. I know it's so tiny.
Oh,
It's such a trap, and I fall into it sometimes too. But what we want to realize is that any vision, any true heart's desire that we have for ourselves is an authentic expression of who we are, fully realized.
that's beautiful.
And so, what kind of gets in there with this formula is a lot of us have learned to earn love, right? So if we were praised for being smart when we were young or successful, then we feel like we earn love by, or there's that word again, proving,
Proving.
right? If we feel like we earned love by taking care of people, by being a carer, then what do? We people please and we overgive to prove, to earn love. Some people even learn to earn love by being sick or being rebellious. And so that's when we get victim consciousness and, or just kind of, like this rebellion, but it's this attempt to prove and earn. And so what we have to realize, or what we get to realize, is that you're already enough. You're already love. And you're already worthy of that thing, but not with that thing on a pedestal. It's just an expression of more of who you are. And the biggest fear that we have is that if I just love myself fully now, that I'll stop striving, that I'll settle and I won't become more. But think about it. When you love a plant, it grows. When you love a pet, it thrives. When you love a person, they blossom. And so you are the same. Your love is like the fertilizer for you. And that thing that you want is just you fully expressed.
Mm.
And so there's kind of this art of noticing these things in your reality where you're like, ooh,
Yeah.
I would love to have that kind of business, or I'd love to speak on that stage, or I'd love to be a millionaire, or I love that kind of relationship. And to notice it and just be like, how delicious, like how delicious that this is already in my awareness. And part of me can already touch it and taste it and see it, which means that I'm a vibration. Part of me is already a vibrational match for it. Otherwise, it wouldn't even be in my awareness.
Okay, hold on, hold on.
But
So as soon as it lands into your awareness, it's already a vibrational match because it landed in your awareness.
totally. Yeah.
Okay, that's a
So
big
so
point.
even
Yeah.
even the fact that you're aware of it as a possibility means that you're closer to it
Mm,
vibrationally than before you knew about it.
love. Okay, that already feels really good.
Yeah, but in our human, what we do is we go into the mind and we go, "Oh my God, there's another I thought I was happy. I made $100,000 a year, and I thought that that was like the creme de la creme. And now I see all these millionaires, and now I feel poor again, and now I feel like I have to get to. Can you? Ooh,
Yes,
lack,
but
lack, 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 lack. Not enough, not enough, not enough, not enough. Prove, prove, prove. Desire, desire, desire.
yes.
Right?
Okay, so
So
we instantly, because we allowed those thoughts to come in, we instantly dip our vibration.
yes. So
Oh, yes. This is so good because it's awareness. I feel like this conversation, I already knew when I was mapping out this episode that it's going to be a conversation about awareness, because that now that we have planted these seeds, this is where we get to make shifts and transformation.
yes, and perception, consciously taking charge of your perception, is one of your most powerful levers for shifting your vibration and your beliefs. I, grew up in a small town, and all I had ever heard talk about was like making $100,000 a year. That was like the creme de la creme. Like I
Okay.
thought if you made $100,000 a year, that was like you made
You
it. You
made
were
it.
like rich, And I
Yeah.
somewhere in my awareness, I knew there were millionaires, but like it's almost like that wasn't real or something.
Right. Yeah.
And then when I kind of started to ascend, I wasn't even really in this work fully yet, but I had a millionaire client when I was a photographer, and she was young and she was self-made and she was kind of in this industry, and it was wild. I was just like, that is in like, how does that even happen?
Right.
It was so mind blowing. It just like broke my model of reality.
Yeah.
And so that's what we talked about. That first thing, I was like dipping my toe in the water of becoming a vibrational match. And it's interesting because I met her at the same time as I started school for my hypnotherapy training. So it's almost like foreshadowing from the universe, right?
Yes.
Flash to now, most of my friends are millionaires, multimillionaires. And it's not like I went around and I was like, I'm only going to be friends with millionaires, but it's just kind of what happened.
Yeah.
And that $100,000 that used to just feel like the creme de la creme of making in a year. I mean, I experience that like every couple months now, which I still sometimes have to be like, this is wild. This is
Yes.
crazy. But it didn't come, to answer the other part of your question, it didn't come until, I mean, there's so many pieces to money stuff because it's quite a big part of our paradigm, but
Yeah.
it didn't come until I dissolved a lot of pieces to that. And a lot of it comes down to worth, right? Like
Mm.
we universally, in the context of the universe, nothing is big or small. Like
Yeah.
from the perspective of God, infinite creator, there's no difference between $10, $100,000, $100 million. Like it's our human that makes that big and small.
Yes.
And so there's a working on dissolving
Mm.
that gets to take place that helps us receive.
Wow. This is a key piece of this conversation, is that again, worthiness piece, because like you said, God is infinite love, right?
Yeah.
Infinite love. Like we are God. God is us. And and we get to experience all the miracles, the wonders of this life for this short period of time that we're here, and we allow our human to kind of sabotage the journey sometimes, but it's part of it. And
It's part of it. That's the
it's
thing.
part
Yeah.
of the journey, because hindsight 2020, when we look back, we're like, wow, I get it. I understand every piece of this journey because it was all meant to come together the way that it did. So this is really, really awesome in terms of, because we kind of laughed at the beginning, it's not about the high vibe. I really loved how you defined the force versus power, and that is a frequency scale. So to close off this piece of the conversation, I think it's key to remember we are having a human experience. So we are
Yeah.
going to move in and out and dance with the scale. Anything else to add on that? Because I think it's easy once we shift up and we feel better, it's quite easy to move into anger or frustration or, maybe shame if we dip down. That's kind of us
Yeah.
being quote unquote hard on ourselves. And so, what would you say to that piece of it? Because we will ebb and flow.
Oof, I love this question so much. And I love that you brought in the being high vibe too,
Yeah.
because I think that that gives us a false expectation sometimes. A lot of times, the fastest way to go up is to be willing to go down, to be willing to look at what's down. So, for example, I feel frustrated in myself because I didn't get this result that I wanted. I wasn't as positive as I should have been. Maybe I didn't hold the energy. And now I can see that I don't have what I want in my manifested reality. And I know better. And I've been doing this work forever, right? That. So, and then we go make ourselves wrong, which is just heavier. So it's like, okay, can I feel into what's underneath this? Why am I frustrated? Because a part of me already knows that what I want to create is for me.
Yeah.
A part of me already knows that I'm worthy of it, that I'm deserving of it, that I'm capable of it. Okay, so what's the problem? This other part of me keeps getting in the way. And I'm trying to get rid of that other part. I'm trying to push it away and escape from that. I don't like that part. I don't like the part that's a failure. I don't like the part that gets angry. I don't like the part that's reactive. But part of high vibration is wholeness. That's what it is. It's integration of all the pieces, the human and the soul into one whole. So whatever, it's a very common saying, whatever we resist persists. So then it goes, okay, this version of me that's been so angry or that's been so frustrated or that has done the wrong thing in my eyes, can I just love that part of me? Can I accept that that's part of who I am?
Yeah.
And that doesn't make me any less. Our fear is of being less, right? Now, if I let that part in, then I let the not enoughness in and then I'm not enough. No, no, no. All of you is good.
Yes.
The worst parts of you, the parts of you that have gotten up and fallen down, the parts of you that have failed, the parts of you that have chosen from fear, the parts of you that have messed up your life in moments, that have done the wrong thing, said the wrong thing, burned bridges, that, we have these memories of like the worst. All of you is good. All of you is worthy and deserving of love. So if you can face what's there, and anything, any story, any perception that you might have that's getting in the way of you accepting that part. And it often goes back to, again, criteria of what we had to do in order to be lovable when we were young, right? So yeah, if you had to be smart to earn love, then a part of you that feels stupid will feel unlovable, but it's not the truth. It's all of you.
All of you.
I can feel this in my body even as I
Oh,
say it. I don't know if you feel it too. It's just like this
yes.
softening, and that softening in the body, in the field, is us coming into a greater level of coherence. Greater level of coherence is rising in vibration.
Oh, so good. And feeling those feelings. That was a big piece of our summer together. I was like, Michael, I'm crying again.
Yes, I
Right?
know. So many people say that if they work with me. They're like, I have my heart. And I feel it. Just feel it.
Right? Just
Yeah.
feel it and don't label it and don't judge it. And I feel for the mothers listening to the show, the fathers listening to the show, it's like we don't judge our kids when they are feeling angry or sad or, shameful because they did something. Like this generation of conscious parents who are choosing to be conscious parents, like we love them all. And so we spoke about the inner child too. It's like, well, you have to love yourself just as equally. That little
Yeah. And
Anna, that little Michael.
totally. And the one thing that I'll add here, since we're talking about this is kind of a little nuance where people kind of mess this up, is what we tend to instinctually do when those feelings are coming up is we want to justify or tell story. We want to go into story about why it's okay or why we feel what we feel and avoid the feeling. You want to do the opposite. You want to feel the feeling viscerally in your body and you want to stay out of story. Because story is where you're going to get yourself hooked in to like another belief set or a vibration that you don't really want to be on. It's the stories that we tell about the things that are the problem, not the feelings. You can feel all your feelings. A lot of your power is in your feelings.
I love that. So feeling the feelings, once that has passed, because it's energy, we naturally, I feel like we move back to neutrality. Would you say? Like it moves us,
Exactly.
right?
And neutrality is the first vibration over the threshold.
Yeah. Into power. Yeah.
Yes. That's why neutrality is so important. So when people are like, just surrender, 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 it's like, it's why, because neutrality gets us back to this place where positive momentum is available to us. And then one of the next big leaps is willingness. So I'm willing to do the thing. And this is where it gets really interesting, because when I work with people on stuff like this, a lot of the times, not always, but a lot of the times what you see, especially if they have a lot of the ingredients set up in the background, we'll get out of a not so great place. We'll move through neutrality and then they'll get back into willingness, and there'll be this mountain of things that they think that they have to do in the 3D to make it happen. But the second they get into the vibration of willingness, the cooperative components start coming in. So like I had a woman who her business had really stalled, and I worked with her on this, and she sort of doubled down on this vision to create like decor. Like she has like amazing interior design with like crystals and all these cool objects and personal branding. And so she was working on her marketing for that, going, I'm gonna do this for real. And a lawyer ended up coming into her store and looking at it and just going, do you do interior design? And she was like, yeah, I do. And she was like, I want to hire you to do all my offices. And then they had a conversation about personal branding. And so she got hired for that as well, literally while sitting there and working on the marketing, not having put it out yet. That is an example of that, when we're in that positive upward momentum, power vibration of the components just kind of organizing in the field.
Oh, so beautiful. You gave us like the recipe to really move into this power versus force and move out of force into power. So I'd love to dive into universal laws next. I know we talked about this summer where I'm like, I just want to know all the laws. And you're like, well, we have to move through it in examples. And I was like, but I have to ask you because you're so embodied. And, I see you embodied in your energetics, in living in alignment with the universal laws. You leverage human design and astrology, which we'll touch on next. But maybe let's bring awareness to the universal laws. What are you like in partnership with consciously? Because this is the thing too. We talk about conscious and unconscious. You also talk about the third way. So universal laws and the third way is where I'd love to go next.
Yeah. So the laws have existed for a while and they're very traditional. I kind of look at them like mechanics. Like if you imagine the inside of a watch and there's all these different gears and they're working together to, take the power from the battery and turn it into the hands moving. I think about each each gear as a mechanic and that they all kind of work together. So the laws are the laws, but it's the mechanics, seeing the
Mm.
mechanics that I think is what really helps us move through life. So some of the most important ones are the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. So I know it's a mouthful, but it basically means that everything is energetic, then mental, then material. So everything is energy, then it's thought, then it's matter. Thought gives form to energy, matter gives form to thought. If you think about an iPhone, it was something that just existed in this field of possibility, and then probably multiple people started getting the downloads for it, but
Mm.
someone actually moved on that and executed it and brought it into a design, and we got the iPhone. That's manifestation, and that's happening all the
All the time.
time, whether we're doing it consciously or not. We're always, whatever vibration we're on, we're receiving that signal, which is giving us the possibility of receiving thoughts, and then those thoughts are becoming things. And
Thing.
that's why you can look at your life and see, what do I have? Well, what vibration am I living on? What thoughts have been coming through? So that's why I focus on energy first
Yeah.
and then beliefs, because that's how the law works.
Mm.
Law of vibration is a major one as well. I think that one's pretty obvious for most people. It's just everything's vibrating and like attracts like. So the law of attraction is a sub law of the law of vibration. But the law of vibration first, everything's vibrating, everything's attuned to a frequency, and like attracts like through resonance. And so actually, I'll give you a big piece for this that helps us make our lives better is when we trust the shift in resonance that we feel with people. So a lot of time
Mm.
people talk about like gut feelings or intuitions, but a lot of times when people have like a friendship falling out or a business partnership go awry, or even just they make a decision, it's the wrong decision, they feel the vibrational mismatch way before the thing happens.
Yeah.
And for a lot of us, we can't make a decision unless we can rationalize it with our mind. But you can't rationalize it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, I just feel something's off. I can just feel it. And if we don't act on that, we tend to, like, 3 months, 6 months later, we find out why.
Yeah.
And so part of law of vibration is, can you just trust
Mm.
what you feel vibrationally? Can you really feel and make decisions from, does this feel in resonance or does it not feel in resonance?
And every single one of us has the superpower.
Everyone,
Everyone.
everyone. Yeah.
So good. It's listening. And then oftentimes we turn around and say, shit, I should have listened.
I know.
Right?
How often have you said that? God damn it. I
Exactly.
knew I felt that vibration. Exactly.
So this,
Yeah.
yeah, this is key. Um,
Yeah.
you are a very embodied projector in human design.
Yeah.
I love that about you. Tell us how human design plays a role in your life and business and working with your clients as well.
Yeah. Well, a big part. So, another aspect of what is very high vibration is authenticity. And I started to realize, and I was really resistant to anything mystical. When I first got into hypnotherapy, I was like, I'm only interested in what the science can prove. And then through time, I was like, oh, there's really something to this other stuff, which incidentally is reflected in levels of vibration. But I started to realize that these maps, this human design map, the astrology map, the gene keys map, that they are real and that they're powerful, and that we don't necessarily have to use them for, like, I would never use it to override your knowing,
Yeah.
but a lot of times they give us confirmation. And so my experience with human design is, I was at this time when I was having this big career change. I was going from being a choreographer to, considering going to school for hypnotherapy. And a big criticism from my family at the time was, you change careers and all these different things, whatever. And so I really wanted to make sure that I was doing the right thing for me. And so I was kind of doing this self inventory and journaling on aspects of me. And some of the things I'd written was like, at the end of the day, I just don't have as much energy as other people. Like, I just don't
Ah,
have the energy that other people have. Another thing was, I think I'm supposed to, make money from my mind and from guiding people somehow, not from doing, because that's not really my thing. And there were all these things that I had journaled. And then this friend that I had made at the time through my training was telling me about human design. And I was kind of like, oh, poo poo, whatever. And she's like, let's look yours up. And she's like, you're a projector and whatever that means. And then she starts telling me what it is. And it was like, here's my journal page, here's all the things on the self inventory, here's human design. Exactly the same thing. And so for a while, because this is like how limiting beliefs work, I was like, well, that's a neat idea, but it's not realistic to live a life
right.
like that. Like the way
Yeah.
that I live my life now seemed completely unrealistic. Like, who is ever going to succeed working 4 hours a day?
Yeah.
Who is ever going to succeed just like, showing up and being sparkly and not really like asking for anything?
By the
But
way,
I
you
start
did say you don't record before 11 PST. So here we are
I know
honoring your design.
that. Yeah, always. But I started to notice that the more I followed it, the better my life got. No
Yeah.
matter how unrealistic, no matter how completely illogical it was, the more I lived by my design, the better my life got, and that was reflected in my income as well, which was really nice. So I just kind of over time made this commitment to live by my design, and I probably was living by my design for a year or two before I started bringing it in with clients,
Yeah.
because I also had this limiting belief because I didn't do a certification in human design, so I was like, oh, I can't do that with clients.
Right.
But I kept having people reflect back to me that had, paid human design readings with experts. They were like, your human design understanding is wild. And like, you even just riffing on my chart for 10 minutes was actually gave me more actionable stuff than I got from a whole reading that I paid for. And I was like, this is a silly limiting belief. I can
Right.
share this. And so I started sharing it with my clients, and particularly with my inner circle. I learn all of their designs, so when I give them guidance, it's based on it's informed by their design a lot of the time. And it was wild watching people just thrive even
Right.
more, because one, I think it's confirmation. It's like these parts of ourselves that we've been thought, well, I'm not allowed to live like that. I'm not good enough if I live like that. You get confirmation. No, no, no. You're literally designed to work that way. And then it's just the alignment with your design, and people thrive.
So beautiful and so powerful. And it supports this frequency of authenticity
Yes,
that is magnetic.
exactly. So it's
Yeah.
moving us up more into power. So it's a win-win-win for
It
sure.
really is. Okay, so this episode releases October 28th. I would love your astrological prediction. What are
Okay.
we coming into for end of year and into 2026? What is something that we'd love to bring awareness to?
So I wish I had known this before. I probably would have looked more thoroughly. Um, Well, Mars moved into Scorpio today, and so it's going to be there for a bit, which is going to bring an opportunity for transformation in the way we show up in our work. So if you have been working in a way that is not your highest alignment, or that's not supportive of you really thriving in this way of like being in a dance with the universe rather than grinding, a lot of that's probably going to come to the surface, and there's going to be an opportunity to rewrite your relationship with that. We're going to go through Virgo, or we're going to go through Libra season next. So there's going to be a lot of relationship energy in a positive way. The summer kind of went through with the dredge and like dredged out anything that was mismatched in relationships. We're going to have the opportunity in the last quarter of the year to find more harmony in the relationships that are meant for us. So that's something to really lean into: community and connection. And then almost all of the outer planets changed this kind of like spring and summer. So we're just settling into that because they're there for a while. So there's a lot of new energy. And I think with that, it's just really being willing to try things a new way. Like if old
Mm.
ways of doing things aren't working, it's not a problem. It's an opportunity and an invitation to um, to just rise, to try and play with a new energy. Saturn, the planet of manifestation and discipline, is oh, is it in Pisces right now? It's retrograding right now. It might have gone back into Aries. Yeah, I think it might have dropped back into Aries. So there's an opportunity to get clearer on the self, and then it's going to go direct back into Pisces. So it's asking us to find more discipline, devotion, and structure in our relationship with our heart and spirit. So it's literally like the planet of doing, getting shit done, and manifesting is going through the sign of spirit and connection to heart. So it's kind of this real invitation to double down on, can I let everything we're talking about, can I let that awareness of vibration, can I let that connection to the wisdom of my heart, can I let my connection to spirit and highest self, can I really let that inform the way that I show up and the decisions that I make in the 3D and the way that I live? And that's a very supportive energy. So I'd really work with that.
So beautiful. And again, that word willingness came up, which is again above the neutrality.
Yeah.
So be willing to experience these shifts. They're meant for you. They're meant for us. They're on the path for a reason. So beautiful. I feel like I could keep talking to you forever. Is there anything else that's coming through you that you'd love to share with the audience today?
I think just more than anything, I think one of the biggest fears that robs us of the life that's truly possible for us is that if we let go of the striving, if we let go of the pushing ourselves to become more, that we somehow will just settle and that'll be it. And you'll just live this frumpy life and life will be over. But nothing could be further from the truth.
Mm.
It's the ability to just look at the masterpiece that you already are, not because of anything that you've done, but simply because of the beautiful, exquisite essence of who you are, flaws and all. And to just be willing to live from that place without expectation, that is what makes us magnetic for the most beautiful life and
Goosebumps.
all kinds of miracles.
Oh, we snapped to that. That's like,
Snaps for
that's
that.
goosebump worthy. Oh my goodness. And what is your definition of prosperity?
I feel kind of like you said, it's this, it's thriving. It's all areas of life. It's that no part of my life is taking this big hit for another part. So health is good. My skin is glowing. I'm vibrant. I'm not stressed about money. There's like enough overflow that I'm not asking money for permission to do like basic things. It's that relationships are good and that there's connection and I feel satisfaction. And I think a big part too is purpose, is that I feel aligned to my purpose and that I'm feeling a sense of fulfillment, because I think that that's one of the biggest things that gives us the feeling that we're actually looking for, is when we're living our purpose and we're of service to others, and yeah, just like there's this real not sacrificing, not limiting energy. It gets to be good in all areas,
Gets to be good.
It
Oh,
gets to be so
so
good.
oh, and where can we all find you?
You can find me on Instagram and YouTube. YouTube is really where I'm putting a lot of my energy now, because as we've seen today, these are like big conversations and there's a lot to say and a lot to share. So if you really want to yeah, kind of catch up and find me, I definitely recommend YouTube. And I feel like Instagram is just our business card these days, you know?
Yes.
So it's like when you meet someone, people don't even ask for phone numbers anymore. It's like, what's your Instagram? So I'm
What's
on
your
Instagram too.
Instagram? Yes. And you have a podcast called Frequency. So make sure you guys tune into past episodes. They're so good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Thank you
amazing.
so much, Micheal Edwards, for being on the Prosperity Playground podcast. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm so grateful for your friendship. Until next time.
Thank you. It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you, Anna.
Thanks for joining me on today's episode of the Prosperity Playground podcast. If this convo sparked something in you, be sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts so you never miss your weekly activation. If you enjoyed the conversation, please rate and review. Your feedback helps us reach more souls just like you who are ready to calibrate to their most prosperous life. Know someone who needs this frequency boost? Share the episode to Instagram and tag me @_Anna Lozano so we can grow our energetically aligned community together. And please remember, true prosperity is about alignment, freedom, expansion, and embodying your worth today. See you on the next activation.